Fresh haircut, new background, and ready for the next video. Did you know about the UX iceberg? No? Alright, this is what today's video is about. It's about the UX iceberg, and this is what makes a product, software or service successful. Welcome back everybody to the next video, and you might have noticed the difference in my background. So I had to give the big plant back because this was only borrowed, it wasn't mine, and I got a new shelf, got some different other plants, and I placed my Google Home, my smart assistant, back there so we can use that for our videos. So we can easily use my smart assistant and say, hey Google, how much percent of an iceberg are below water?
90%.
There you have it, about 90% of an iceberg are below water. And it's the same with the UX iceberg, because you can see only approximately 10% of the entire work that is happening when creating a proper solution in the end. So 90% of all the work that has been done to create a successful solution will not be seen by the end user or end customer. Actually, it's quite simple, because user experience itself is completely invisible. You can't see it on the surface. It's always some emotions or some feelings that a user has while, before or after using one of your solutions. And a user experience is something that a user has or he or she doesn't have it. It's either a good experience or a bad experience. And as an experience, our emotions, our feelings, we as UX designers cannot really force a user towards having a good user experience. All we can do is use certain aspects and influence some aspects of our solutions that the user experience is with a higher chance a good one. And the three key elements that we can use when creating a successful solutions are focusing on the user's needs, wishes and their pain points with current solutions. We can involve them from the beginning on in the creation process of our solutions. And the third key aspect that the first two end up in is the UX workflow. If you use the UX workflow when creating a new product, software or service, actually nothing can go wrong, because you actively involve the users from the beginning on, whether it's the analysis phase or the prototyping, design or implementation phase, and of course the fifth phase, the evaluation phase. The users will be involved throughout all of these phases. So what are the 10% above water from the UX iceberg that you can actually see and experience? These are elements like graphics, the visual design, and overall the marketing is also part of that. Because when you watch a commercial of a product, software or service, you will see what the product can do or what the software is for or what the service will provide for you. So this is also part of what you can see when you interact with any kind of solution. However, the 90% below the iceberg are the ones that you don't necessarily see. You can experience them in some way, shape or form. If we talk about performance, for example, or IT security, it is something that you can perceive in some way. Because if a website is loading really fast, you can experience it. But you can't see anything of the coding that is running in the background. And if we talk about psychological aspects too, they are also not visible to you. But you can see or experience whether the UX designers did their work properly. If they did a proper analysis phase and created a valid and a solid information architecture, then it's more likely that you will have a great user experience, because all the contents will be in the places where you expect them to. And this is why psychological aspects also play an important role when you interact with especially softwares. And then there's one more aspect, and really important one, that is part of the 90% below the water, and that is user testing. So if a product was evaluated multiple times through user testing during the creation, then you will have a way better user experience, because the product is more usable, the interaction design is valid, and I can almost guarantee you, if you have a great user experience, the UX designers did some really good research in the very beginning. They spoke actively to the users. They asked them, what are your pain points with current solutions? What are your wishes for future solutions? And what are requirements that we need to implement into the solution so you have a great experience with using it? And that is the big issue with user experience. It's not visible, you can only experience it, and therefore it's really, really hard to sell it. However, even if everything is invisible, that's not a problem, because users still know whether they have a great user experience or not with using your solution. And that's based on the experience they have, the emotions, what they feel when interacting with your solution. And that often ends up, if you have a great solution, in enjoying using a solution and when your users are happy in the end. And oftentimes it's very hard to sell user experience to the people that make the budget decisions. And user experience, as it's an iterative process and as you have to do lots of prototyping in the beginning, it might seem more expensive, but it isn't, because in the end you have a more likely or a higher chance that your solution will be successful. And therefore, it is often required that you have to sell user experience, but it's hard because you can't really see it, you can only feel it. And therefore, you have to ask critical people, what is a product, software, or service that you enjoy using? And they will come up with something, and oftentimes it's something like their phone. And maybe they will say, yeah, I love my iPhone, I love using it. And what you can do then is ask them, why do you love your iPhone? And then they will reply something like, well, it's just nice, it works, it does what it's supposed to do. And then you can ask them, why do you think your iPhone does what it's supposed to do? And then they will start thinking, and they probably can't come up with an answer on their own. And this is where you can tell them, you enjoy using your iPhone because the UX designers that worked for Apple, they did their job properly. They did the user research, they know what the users want and need and what they don't like. Then they did some prototyping, they made adjustments, they did some concepts and evaluated those against each other and found the strengths and the weaknesses of all the concepts. And therefore, in the end, they came up with one good solution that was then properly designed and implemented. And with that, I would like to end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn the notifications bell on, and also smash the like button. And I will see you in the next video.